0 Falcon Heavy launches in 2025. Meanwhile, Falcon 9 has already completed 115-plus missions this year, shattering records. The stark contrast is undeniable. SpaceX's heavy lift champion has been sidelined for 348 days straight. The facts speak volumes. Landing Zone 1 officially retired, limiting recovery options. Starship development accelerating with 25 planned launches next year. Customer demand shifting to cheaper Falcon 9 missions. Is this the beginning of the end for the rocket that launched a Tesla into space? Let's dive right in. To understand what's really happening, let's examine the data that SpaceX doesn't want you to focus on. In 2023, Falcon Heavy reached its peak with 5 successful launches. Industry experts predicted this upward trend would continue. Instead, 2024 delivered only 2 flights, and 2025, a complete shutout. The math is brutal. Since October 14, 2024, the last Falcon Heavy launch carrying NASA's Europa Clipper, SpaceX has completed over 115 Falcon 9 missions and 10 Starship test flights. That's 125-plus launches while their heavy lift champion sat idle. This isn't coincidence, it's strategy. Right now, only one mission keeps Falcon Heavy's 2025 alive, the Griffin lunar lander, tentatively scheduled for December. This NASA Astrobotic partnership will use core booster B1091 to deliver payloads near the moon's south pole. Sounds promising, right? Here's the reality check. Updates on this mission have been scarce. Industry insiders whisper about technical delays and budget constraints. If Griffin doesn't fly, 2025 becomes the first year since Falcon Heavy's 2018 debut with 0 launches, a death sentence for any rocket program. But even if Griffin succeeds, it only delays the inevitable. 1 mission per year doesn't sustain a rocket program. It keeps it on life support. This is where actions speak louder than words. SpaceX has permanently shut down Landing Zone 1, the very facility that created those iconic synchronized booster landings. Remember watching 2 Falcon Heavy side boosters touch down in perfect unison? That spectacle helped define the rocket's identity and SpaceX's brand. Without Landing Zone 1, Falcon Heavy operations become a logistical nightmare. SpaceX must either attempt risky drone ship recoveries for both side boosters or accept the massive cost increase of throwing them away. There's construction near SLC-40 for a potential replacement, but no timeline for completion. This infrastructure decision reveals SpaceX's true intentions. Companies don't retire critical facilities for rockets they plan to fly regularly. The Landing Zone 1 closure is SpaceX's way of saying Falcon Heavy's future without actually saying it. The numbers tell a story SpaceX's marketing team won't. While Falcon Heavy excels at high-energy missions to geostationary orbit and beyond, most customers just need rides to low Earth orbit. For these missions, Falcon 9 dominates. Faster turnaround, lower costs, proven reliability. SpaceX has committed to over 170 launches this year. Falcon 9 has already completed 115-plus flights, crushing last year's record of 132 missions. This relentless pace generates massive revenue while keeping operations simple. 1 rocket type, 1 production line, 1 set of procedures. Falcon Heavy disrupts this efficiency. Every heavy launch requires coordinating 3 boosters, specialized ground equipment, and extended preparation time. It ties up valuable resources and disrupts the Falcon 9 money machine. From a business perspective, Heavy has become an expensive distraction from SpaceX's cash cow. Now we reach the real threat to Falcon Heavy's existence. SpaceX has conducted 10 Starship test flights, with each mission solving critical challenges. The latest flight demonstrated controlled maneuvers, engine relights, payload deployment, and successful re-entry attempts. But here's the knockout punch. SpaceX plans 25 Starship launches from Starbase next year alone. That's more flights than Falcon Heavy's entire 7-year history. When fully operational, Starship will deliver 100 tons to orbit for a projected $2 million per mission. Compare that to Falcon Heavy's current $97 million price tag. Starship doesn't just compete with Heavy, it makes it financially obsolete. Version 3 promises 100-ton capacity, while version 4 could handle 200 tons. These aren't incremental improvements. They're revolutionary leaps that leave Falcon Heavy in the dust. Despite this grim outlook, Falcon Heavy has one crucial advantage: government trust. The U.S. Space Force's National Security Space Launch Program has awarded multiple contracts requiring proven reliability for sensitive payloads. Military customers can't gamble with unproven systems, regardless of cost savings. This creates a temporary shield around Falcon Heavy. Starship might promise revolutionary capabilities, but it lacks the certification and flight heritage that government agencies demand. NASA has also committed to several high-profile missions: Dragonfly to Saturn's Moon Titan, Dragon XL for the Lunar Gateway, and various deep space telescopes. These contracts span 2 to 3 years, providing Falcon Heavy with essential breathing room. But this protection won't last forever. This brings us to the critical timeline battle. While Starship advances rapidly, it faces a regulatory maze that could take years to navigate. Government agencies require extensive documentation, testing protocols, and flight heritage before approving sensitive payloads. Falcon Heavy benefits from its Falcon 9 DNA. The same engines, avionics, and manufacturing processes proven across hundreds of missions. This shared heritage accelerated Heavy certification and continues reassuring risk-averse customers. Starship starts from scratch. Despite impressive test flights, it hasn't deployed a single customer payload to orbit. Until SpaceX demonstrates consistent operational success, Falcon Heavy retains its certification advantage. But once Starship clears those regulatory hurdles, the game changes permanently. Here's something most analysts miss: Falcon Heavy's cultural value. The February 2018 debut launch, featuring Elon Musk's Tesla Roadster floating through space with Starman at the wheel, created a global phenomenon. That single mission generated billions of social media impressions and established SpaceX as more than just another aerospace company. Every Falcon Heavy launch carries this legacy: the synchronized landings, the raw power of 27 Merlin engines, the perfect mission success rate. These elements create marketing value that transcends mere transportation services. SpaceX understands this cultural currency, but symbolism alone doesn't pay the bills. The question becomes, how long can cultural impact justify operational costs? Falcon Heavy pioneered something revolutionary: routine recovery of multiple large boosters. Successfully landing 2 side boosters simultaneously required breakthrough advances in guidance systems, throttling algorithms, and structural engineering. SpaceX even attempted full 3-booster recovery multiple times. This achievement reduced heavy lift costs from over $150 million to roughly $97 million, fundamentally disrupting the launch market. Competitors like ULA's Vulcan, NASA's SLS, and Europe's Ariane 6 still rely on expensive expendable designs, making them increasingly irrelevant. However, Starship promises even more dramatic cost reductions through complete vehicle reusability. If SpaceX hits their $2 million launch target, Falcon Heavy's cost advantage disappears overnight. The Pioneer becomes the dinosaur. While Falcon Heavy faces internal pressure from Starship, its external competition remains weak. ULA's Vulcan struggles with engine supply issues and limited flight rates. NASA's SLS costs over $4 billion per launch and flies maybe once annually. China's Long March rockets lack reusability and Western market access. This competitive weakness might extend Falcon Heavy's lifespan. If customers need heavy lift capabilities before Starship achieves full certification, Heavy remains the only viable commercial option. But this market protection is temporary. Once Starship becomes operational, the economic pressure becomes irresistible. Running Falcon Heavy involves expenses that rarely make headlines. The rocket requires specialized ground support equipment, triple booster coordination teams, and complex flight software. Each launch disrupts Falcon 9 production schedules and occupies valuable launch infrastructure. These hidden costs accumulate quickly. When SpaceX can generate similar revenue from multiple Falcon 9 flights with less complexity, Heavy's value proposition crumbles. Add Starship's superior economics, and Heavy looks like an expensive legacy system eating resources that could fuel future growth. Modern satellite operators increasingly favor smaller, more frequent launches over massive single deployments. This trend perfectly suits Falcon 9's capabilities while undermining Heavy's core market. Why wait months for a Heavy slot when multiple Falcon 9 missions offer superior scheduling flexibility? Even customers with heavy payloads are rethinking their strategies. Breaking large deployments into smaller batches reduces risk, improves insurance costs, and provides operational redundancy. This behavioral shift accelerates Falcon Heavy's market decline. The situation worsens as Starship approaches operational status. Customers may choose waiting for dramatically lower Starship costs rather than paying premium Heavy prices. This creates a dangerous spiral where delayed bookings further reduce Heavy's already minimal flight rate. Based on current contracts and development progress, Falcon Heavy likely survives through 2026 to 2027. The Griffin mission, military obligations, and NASA commitments provide a crucial buffer period. But once Starship achieves operational certification for high-value payloads, the economic math becomes impossible to ignore. The decisive moment will come when SpaceX faces a choice: invest in Falcon Heavy infrastructure upgrades or redirect those resources towards Starship production scaling. Given their ambitious Mars colonization timeline and the need to maximize Starship manufacturing, the decision seems inevitable. The writing is on the wall. The only question is whether SpaceX will announce Heavy's retirement officially or let it fade away through reduced flight frequency until operations become unsustainable. Either way, we're witnessing the beginning of the end for one of spaceflight's most iconic vehicles. So what does this all mean? The answer isn't as simple as SpaceX is killing Falcon Heavy. What we're witnessing is something more sophisticated, a calculated transition that reveals SpaceX's mastery of long-term strategic planning. This is exactly why those 348 days of silence matter so much. SpaceX isn't randomly sidelining their heavy lift workhorse. They're orchestrating a carefully timed evolution that maximizes value from existing assets while positioning for revolutionary advances. Falcon Heavy's reduced role isn't failure, it's strategic optimization. The bigger picture here connects to humanity's next giant leap. SpaceX is essentially building the infrastructure for Mars colonization, and that requires Starship-class capabilities. Falcon Heavy, impressive as it is, represents the bridge between yesterday's expendable rockets and tomorrow's fully reusable super heavy lift vehicles. But here's what's coming next, and why this story is far from over. Starship's 25 planned launches next year will either validate SpaceX's ambitious timeline or reveal the gaps that keep Falcon Heavy essential longer than expected. We're about to witness the most dramatic technology transition in spaceflight history compressed into just 2 to 3 years. The certification battles, cost pressures, and customer migrations we've discussed will play out in real time. Each Starship flight brings us closer to answering whether revolutionary promises can replace proven performance. And every month Falcon Heavy remains grounded, makes its eventual return or retirement more significant. What do you think happens if Starship faces major setbacks? Does Falcon Heavy become the fallback that saves SpaceX's Mars timeline? Or have they already committed too deeply to turn back? This is Space Hub, where we analyze the business and technology decisions shaping our future beyond Earth. If you want more deep dive analysis into the strategies driving space exploration, you know what to do. The space industry is evolving faster than ever, and the decisions being made today will determine who leads humanity to the stars. The Falcon Heavy story isn't ending. It's transforming into something even bigger. SpaceX just scored a massive victory at Pad 2. Their flame trench system unleashed a torrent visible from miles away, proving the future of Starship launches is here. But there's a problem. S-38 completely failed its static fire test, sitting cold while engineers scrambled to figure out what went wrong. No frost on the tanks means no fuel loading, a ground system failure that could derail Flight 11's timeline. Let's dive right in. On September 13th at Starbase, SpaceX achieved something remarkable. Their Pad 2 flame trench system activated at full power, sending torrents of water cascading skyward in a display visible from miles away. This wasn't just a test. It was proof that SpaceX has solved one of rocketry's toughest challenges: how to build infrastructure that can withstand the extreme forces of the world's most powerful rocket. The dual bucket flame trench design represents years of engineering refinement. Unlike Pad 1's water-cooled steel plate system, Pad 2 uses a more sophisticated approach that disperses heat and pressure through two separate channels. This system is engineered to handle 10,000 tons of thrust repeatedly, the kind of punishment that V3 and V4 Starships will deliver. This success matters because Pad 2 isn't just another launch platform. It's the blueprint for every future Starship facility worldwide. When SpaceX builds launch pads at Cape Canaveral, on the Moon, or eventually Mars, they'll use Pad 2's proven design. The September 13th test validates an entire generation of launch infrastructure that will support humanity's expansion into space. Just 5 days after Pad 2's triumph, reality delivered a harsh reminder of space industry realities. September 18th was supposed to mark another milestone: S-38's static fire test, clearing the path for Flight 11. The schedule looks straightforward: a single engine test followed by a 6-engine firing that would prove S-38's readiness for flight. Instead, engineers watched their carefully laid plans crumble. The tank farm vented normally. Technicians completed their pre-test checks. The chopsticks moved into position exactly as planned. Everything appeared perfect until the critical moment. Fuel loading began. That's when nothing happened. No frost formed on S-38's tanks, the telltale sign that cryogenic methane and liquid oxygen were flowing into the vehicle. No matter how long they waited or how many times they cycled the systems, S-38 remained stubbornly dry. The test scrubbed without a single engine firing. The technical evidence points to a complete ground system failure. Either the fuel lines developed blockages, the transfer pumps malfunctioned,